Do you feel like you completely learned the English language, or are there still some things that you struggle with, or?
Oh yes, always. When I read books, I keep improving the vocabulary, and sometimes I don't know at the moment. I'm just talking here. People said that I usually speak slower than people are used to. I feel this happens in rehearsals. There is another issue here. Whenever you learn, for example, mathematics, even living here in the US, if I have to do some calculations, I do it in my mother tongue. I do it in Portuguese. This is something that I think doesn't change. I think it might be that now I dream in English. I'm not sure about that. But in the same way I said about math, I just cannot learn notes in English. I know them. It takes me time to speak. Even in rehearsal yesterday, I had to say some things. I just couldn't. A, B, C. I just say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, and things like that. So yes, I still struggle, especially in my position when I have to talk in public, all rehearsals. I teach big classes here, Miami Plan classes, where I have a class of 125 people. So I do, the way I do, I practice, more than other professors do. And then when I'm giving the lecture, I have to give it in a way that it looks like I am improvising. And I am a kind of professor, I don't like to read, to be in front of a class, have something and start reading to deliver a lecture. It has to be spontaneous, so I need to prepare it. And I have an outline and then I talk.
So how long would you say it took you to speak English fluently?
Well, it took me about 3 months being immersed, speaking everyday English and going to school and all that, to be able to communicate comfortably with people. It doesn't mean that I spoke well. And I remembered when I came to the US, I went straight to a doctoral program. I could understand the lectures. I would write papers and so on, but it was hard.
Did you ever have a tutor to help you for anything?
No, that was another cultural shock. Total cultural shock. The university, I went to a big university, University of Michigan. They have, I think, 40,000 students. Frankly, they were not prepared to receive foreign students. I would receive communications from them. What they sent to me is the same thing that they sent to the American students. So I was scared to death. They said, you arrive, you have proficient exams on this, and this, and you have to learn from these books. And I didn't know any of those books, and in Brazil it was impossible to find them. So I came on purpose 2 or 3 days before. They sent me to a dorm or whatever. I need to find a place to sleep, to find a place where I was going to live, furniture, all that. So I didn't know what Social Security was, driver's license, open a bank account. I was coming from the jungle. It was so hard. And then I had those exams, everything in English. didn't have the books to study. I took my books in Bulgarian and so on, and I was afraid. And then it turned out the easy part was the exams in music, because with this background studying in Bulgaria, it was a very good school. I passed everything. No problem. But oh my God, to find a place to live, I was a doctoral student. There were, I didn't stay in dorms. I had to rent a place, and then, oh, you said about cultural shock. Let me tell you this. There is a movie with Robin Williams called Moscow on the Hudson. And he plays like, I think, a Russian guy who defected, something like that, comes to the US, and he has the greatest cultural shock. I saw it was me. Look, I got this place, this place on campus, a big building, and I got this apartment, and then I needed to get furniture. In order to get furniture, I was a student. I had to find a bus that would take me to a certain store I never heard of, Meijer, in Ann Arbor. I've never seen a store, I've never seen a store that is like half of the size of Meijer. I entered there. I was so overwhelmed. I started getting dizzy in the store, literally. And the first time I went, I couldn't buy anything. I felt, I was really literally dizzy. So then, when was the time to buy furniture, first there were no buses. They were very rare. I had to wait for 1 hour on the street waiting for a bus that would take me there. So I got that stuff over there, and then I had to call for a cab that was big enough to put the things in the cab. I arrived, so it was very difficult for me to do this alone and carry, and I took everything to the place, and then they didn't want to let me put the stuff there because my lease would start the following day. I said, come on, I pay you an extra day because, I couldn't go to Meijer during the week. Because I had classes, I had to go during the weekend. So it was a nightmare. I felt horrible there, didn't know what to do, and frankly, people didn't really help me there, until I become a friend have some students who taught me how to type. Someone gave me a program that taught me how to type so that I could use the computers.